Hello everybody, Miss Jackie Russell here. And hey guys, I'm here with the next look. And I went to church today, had worship, and it was really great. And I had done my eyes, and this was the way I went. But it felt off balance, of course, because I have the blue underneath my eye, which is that Estee Lauder Sky Blue. And I want to talk about hooded eyes. I didn't do my wings out today like I normally do. And I noticed when my eyes was closed that you know how I do the insides or the crease of my eye, I noticed because of the hooded eye, especially on this side, it was like dropping down a lot. And I thought, hey, I don't usually notice that too much. And I thought today I'm going to show you what I have on, but I'm also going to add to it because I want to show you how I think that I camouflage my hooded eyes, because I do have hooded eyes. As you can tell, like it's kind of creasing back in there, and especially you can actually see it on both sides, so it's not just one side or the other. But I did use this blue eyeliner, and I thought, wow, that was really bright. And so I even added some on top because it was so bright. And I'm going to go ahead, and I'm not going to put more of this on the bright. It is sky blue, and then this side is navy. Actually, they call it marine. And what I'm going to do to help make my eyes look not so hooded, and this is my opinion. I am not a makeup artist, but I noticed that when I was driving to church and I looked in the mirror, you know how you look in the rear view mirror, you can see yourself, and I thought, oh, my eyes look like they're hanging down. I didn't like that. So I thought, what did I do different? So I'm going to try this. I don't know if it'll actually work. I may look more silly, but I'm going to draw, and I may have the wrong liner for this. Draw that out or down. Yeah, I don't have a sharp edge, but you can see how I lifted that other one already. Okay, yeah, it's lifted one of them and brought more like a cat eye look and lifted it. And that one looks, I don't know, too fat over there, but it did lift it. But in order to correct it, I'm going to have to fill it in a little bit. So because I knew I was probably going to have to fill it in, and that's why I use those dark colors in the corners of my eye. Now originally what I had on, just so you know before we get started here, is I had on my Estee Lauder Marble Spring palette that I found because I love this palette and I've been using it all the time. I've got this brown in the corners, but I don't think it's brown enough or something. And then I've got the purple here. I've got the purple there in the crease, and then I've got all the other three colors, the pink and the cream, and I guess that peachy color, all blended on here, and I've got some up on top. So I'm going to see if I can pull this out a little bit. So what I did was, one other thing, I used my Charlotte Tilbury palette, and because I had on blue, I thought I need to pull a blue out. So I used that blue that's right there in the center, and I put that just kind of in the middle on top, and I don't even know if you can tell that anymore. But anyways, my rest of my makeup I'll go over in just a minute. But let me find the palette. I decided I'd get the Aether palette out and use that dark purple over there. And so I brought my little, I call it my little paintbrush, specifically I use for the corners of my eyes. And I've been using this thing forever. Look how wore down it is. And I do not know where this brush came from, but this brush is oh my goodness, I had this in Missouri, Herman, Missouri. This thing has to be since the 80s. We moved in 93, so anywhere in there, I don't know, a long time. So I'm going to paint this on, so to speak, in my corners and see if I can give myself that depth that I'm looking for, but also to open up my eye. See how that opens it up? Is it my imagination or is it working? And it makes it not look so hooded. So this is how I camouflage my hooded eyes. And I never realized how much it camouflaged it until this morning when we were going to church. Now, one side's just, I got a scar in there because of when I fell into those crates. But I've got that on. Now I'm going to see, you see how it's already opened up my eyes? Even though it's dark, it's opened up my eyes. And I thought I'm going to share this tip with you guys. And then, of course, I may do an individual video of this too. We'll see how it goes. But then I brought my blender, well, I guess it's a blender brush. This here is $1 billion BBB brush. Yeah, this is my favorite brush to use in my crease. So I'm going to use that darker purple there, and I'm going to brush that across my crease and lift it up so that there's more of it there. And by doing that, I camouflage my hooded eyes, and they look lifted up. And look at that, voila, they lifted up. So that is my trick. I've got a couple that I use, and I guess I never realized how much or how prominently it actually lifts the eye. So doing that corner trick where you outline it, and you can see this eye is a little bit more out of line with like my liner. So in that case, what I do is I'm going to bring it on down to match up with my eye a little better, and it still doesn't match up completely because when I did this, I got out of line just a little bit. I kind of bowed out on this side instead of going straight up. But you can definitely see how I do that. And so for all of y'all that, you know, I do have hooded eyes. They may not be as bad or whatever yet, but they're, you know, as I age, they're going more and more. And that's one way I've been able to lift them out of that hooded look and bring them out. And then when I use the lighter colors, like when I, you know, get back in my little toolbox here. When I use the lighter colors like the pink, like that, like this color, and let's just say I'm putting that on the insides of my eye, and then I go up with it a little bit, that there just opens up my eyes more. So I've got the dark coming out, and then I've got that light on top, and then like I told y'all, this brush is the one that I use for that blue. And I thought, okay, I've got so much blue going on, let's dab a little blue on. So I dabbed a little of that blue. I'm going to put some more on there. Yeah, just a dab-a-do-ya, as they say. So that's what's on my eyes. And I wanted to share that with y'all. And of course, this is my Estee Lauder dual-ended product. This was the Aether Beauty palette that's all in purple, mostly in purples. That's mostly what I use out of that. I do use some of the other colors. And then my blush that I have on today, I'm loving this Fenty. Y'all probably getting tired of seeing it, but I really like it, so I have that on. I have Estee Lauder foundation, and I used my Prime Lash Volumizer, which, you know, I think it works pretty good. And I do have a code for this and a link down in my description if you're interested in getting some mascara that is for mature eyes and it has nutrients in it. So it not only lengthens your lashes, you're also getting those nutrients in there. So, okay, that was my mascara. And I must have longer lashes on one side than I do the other, because it always seems longer to me on one side than the other. Is that my imagination? I don't know. But anyway, we're going to move on so this don't get too long. I'm not trying to do a full get ready, but I did use my Pillow Talk liner. And I'm going to go over it because I haven't really done this since I got back from church. So I'm going to put that on, and then I decided to use the Estee Lauder. And I think this was their breast cancer bag or lipstick for this year, which is Crystal Baby is the color. And it's a neutral kind of color, a neutral mauve. And I used it because I had that bright eyes of blue going on. I thought, man, I don't need my lips to be blaring too. So I kind of toned it down. Then I put on Dolly. And that's the Buxom. And I put that on top. So I think I've told you everything that's on my eyes. And if you go back to the beginning part of this, you can see how my eyes were really laying down and looking very hooded, and I didn't like it. And it could have been the colors that I had on that was making it really stand out, and I thought, I'm going to fix that when I get home. And I thought, let's experiment. So that's my look today, and this is how it ended up after I doctored it up a bit. And let me know what you think. I like it. And I think it turned out better after I brought my eyes out where they're lifted up more. And you can't really tell I have the hooded eye anymore, or at least I can't. Am I just imagining it? Y'all tell me. But okay, that's enough. This has gotten really long, and I may make this its own video as well. So you may see this again in my makeup looks for April or May whenever I get it out. But I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to check my descriptions for any giveaways that are currently going on. Could be several, because we do have the Temu collab finish. Now we'll be having the Dollar Tree train coming out on April 13th, I believe. So keep an eye out for that. And of course we have the Jubilee, the hashtag Jubilee, and I have won a couple of giveaways. So there might be a I won so can you. I just don't know when this is going to go out. So be sure and check my descriptions. Use hashtag Jubilee to be a part of the April Jubilee. And if you want to share this video, let me know where you shared it and when. And I will add a hand-drawn name in my, I guess, in my bucket. And you get up to 3. So if you share 3, you get up to 3 entries. You can share more if you want, and I know several of you have, and I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for your support and sharing and helping me to grow. It's so appreciated. But as for today and this look, let me know what you think about my hooded eye correction and or camouflage. And as usual, I wish you all a blessed and happy day. Bye-bye.